Oke, ini bootnya masih manuver, guys. Kapten yang masuk.
In the case of an emergency, take a moment to note where the emergency exits are. There are two at the front of the boat, one to the left and one to the right.
Kapten yang manuver.
Hatch door in the roof. This boat is equipped with life-saving equipment. And if an emergency situation arises, the captain will distribute them and give you instructions. Remember, this is a non-smoking cruise.
When you exit the boat, please check and double check you have all your belongings.
Oh.
Any questions? Your captain is here to assist you. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the cruise.
Welcome to Amsterdam, capital city of the Netherlands. What better way to experience this compact and very international city than from the unique perspective of its waterways? There certainly are a lot of them. This city has over 100 kilometers of canal. Amsterdam is known for being friendly, open-minded, and progressive. It's a popular place to visit and do business. Just think, in a population of only 800,000 people, you can meet 170 different nationalities.
This area's rich history adds a sparkle that's never far below the surface. During the 17th century, Amsterdam shone especially bright, like gold. This golden age was an extraordinary time. Politics, art, and business all reached new levels of sophistication. Dutch shipbuilders revolutionized sailing. Amsterdam boasted a thriving stock exchange, and painters like Rembrandt and Vermeer produced remarkable art.
Masuk jembatan. Mana kira sibuk kayaknya ya. Inilah pesisir langsung. Itu Amsterdam Central. Nanti ada orang teman kita ini lihat lampai-lampai aja. Iya, kalau semisal ada. And then keep doing that. The other side, what's the other side? Amsterdam Central. Datang di Belanda, Amsterdam. Nyobain batu.
Let's take a step back in time, a big step to the 12th century. To our left, there was nothing but vast stretches of marshland, lakes, and sea. To our right, at the mouth of the Amstel River, was an early settlement of simple huts. Settlers built a dam across the river, hence the name Amstelredam, or the dam built across the Amstel.
Masuk jembatan.
Fast forward a few hundred feet. Amsterdam has grown into a fortified medieval village, complete with dikes, ditches, and canals to serve its place. This far back in time, it was an important trading route. Ships sailed back and forth across the Baltic Sea carrying grain, cloth, wood, and salt. The original wall of Amsterdam would have been to our right. During the Middle Ages, a moat, now called a singel, encircled the city. The church you see, the St. Nicholas, was built centuries later. Named after the patron saint of seafaring, it stood overlooking the harbor. Also to our right is the 15th century Friars Tower. This outer defense tower...
Enak ya vibes-nya ya kira. Vibes-nya kalau menyusuri kanal-kanal enak ya. Bagus. Daripada kita jalan di atas.
Nothing you see, including the land itself, was here during
That's
medieval
right.
times.
And freeze.
Over the centuries, much of the
Some
land
wind.
around us was wrestled from the sea. To reclaim this quota, or land that was once covered by lakes and seas,
Likely.
and use windmills and pumps to get rid of unwanted water. And they've done an amazing and ingenious job of it. When it comes to controlling sea levels, the Netherlands takes the lead worldwide.
Backlight ini yang sini.
The building with flags atop it is the former Scheepvaart House, or shipping. A group of shipping companies ran their businesses from here. This early 20th century building is considered to be the first true example of the Amsterdam School style of architecture. The front of the building is impressively adorned with statues of Neptune, his wife, and 4 figures that represent the points of the compass. The building is decorated inside and out with all kinds of nautical symbols, anchors, ships, and famous Dutch mariners. It's now a 5-star luxury hotel.
Hotel tuh ya. Banyak berapa tuh udah
The golden age of the 17th century was a stellar time for Amsterdam.
Kapal-kapal pada parkir, perahu-perahu.
This one is will pass our ship.
Yeah, of course. The main destination, going outside the canal and go to the sea. Look, floating house. Yeah. It's like a floating house. This boat is never move. Now become a house, right? It's like concrete, eh? Concrete.
Sometimes they say.
Huh?
Sometimes they say it's a problem.
But I think that's like concrete, cement.
Oh, just like
We're now traveling along what
paint, I
was
think.
once the outer
Only
defense
paint?
of the city. The original city boundary was to the right. To the left, salt marsh and
Oh, masuk jembatan.
the red brick tower coming up.
Yeah, go inside the canal.
It was built to protect the city's shipyards, wharves, and warehouses from attack.
Wow.
From here, Dutch soldiers armed with longbows, crossbows, and early firearms called arquebuses kept watch over the wide expanses below.
The tower's white spire and clocks were added a century later. They were designed by Hendrik de Keyser, an architect whose work can be seen around Amsterdam, and who you're certain to hear more about on this cruise. The clocks couldn't keep time, and the tower's bells rang out randomly. So locals gave it the nickname Silly Jack.
Not long after the spire and clocks were added, the tower began to list to one side. With some effort, it was pulled to right. You might be wondering why so many buildings in the city tip to one side or the other. The ground in Amsterdam, a mix of peat, sand, and soil, is very soft. Because of this, buildings were generally designed to be as light as possible. None were very tall, and they often had lots of windows. For stability, they were built on a bed of wooden piles driven as deep as 15 meters, that's 45 feet, into the ground. But if these piles were exposed to the air, they began to rot, and the buildings they supported sank and shifted. Today, water levels in and around the city are carefully controlled to minimize rot. When new piles are needed, they're made of concrete. Still, you'll see many a house with a sideways tilt.
The Toir was a place where sailors gathered before setting out to sea. The journeys were long and difficult, and not everyone returned. Legend has it that the women who loved them also came here to say goodbye, perhaps forever.
Apa jadi?
Ini ya, saya lihat.
Hah?
Saya lihat apa itu?
Apa
We
sih?
are now on the Ocean, or Outer Trench Canal. During the 16th century, it served as a defense canal.
Masuk jembatan.
Iya,
The
itu
city's
air.
canals served one or
Air.
more of these functions. As a
Air.
transportation route, a line of defense, or a way to manage
Ada yang berjemur di atas.
the ocean shines because of its size. In all of this, because it was one of the only canals wide enough for large ships to sail, and because of its proximity to the harbor, the
Oh,
Ocean
ini nih,
became a
buat-buatnya nih,
convenient
bagus
place to
nih.
unload cargo.
Yang mantu.
Perahunya. Perahunya ini lagi belajar nyopir perahu ini.
Kapal ya, kapal.
Lagi belajar nyetir ini. Nah, ini kita papasan ini sama perahu anak-anak muda nih.
Bobo, si Bobo itu.
Ini kan dia yang lu maksud open gini kan?
Iya.
Ada di sana, adanya di gang-gang kanal-kanal deh. Panas sih.
Share. Bobo. Share.
We're about to pass through one of the city's old locks. The small, tippy black building was once the lockmaster's house. It's now a pub and cafe full of 17th century charm, stone floors, wooden benches, and exposed ceiling beams. Its outdoor patio is a great place for watching boats on the canal.
Nanti ulang. Ayo. Ayo. Ada.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's more to see in this area because so when we're in the lock, the second house from the corner to the left is the red shutter stretched house, our famous painter Rembrandt lifts. The house of Rembrandt. The house is dated from the year 1606. Now you can see the house of Rembrandt. The second house from the corner to the left. And he's the painter of the Night Watch.
Masuk lok juga ini ternyata. Iya, lok kanal. Udah 13 menit. Oh,
We're now
ada
approaching the Roger Plane. It's located adjacent to the City Hall, the large red brick building. The original Roger Plane was an island built in the 17th century
to create a space for Jewish settlers. At the time, it was called
Kita kan kalau jalan nggak masuk sampai sini-sini, Ger.
Iya.
Over time, the name morphed into Florianberg, or Flea Island, and the bustling market town here is called
Ya, bisa langsung ke rumah ya.
Hah?
Dia bisa langsung ke rumah ini loh.
Iya.
Tuh, kan? Masuk rumah dia.
and is now known as the largest flea market in the Netherlands.
Ini dari kapal boat langsung masuk rumah. Next sekali.
Jalan kaki nggak bisa, jauh kan?
Jauh, Ger. Masuk jembatan lagi. Banyak sepeda di Amsterdam.
Besar bukan ini, luas banget.
Luas ini. Seluruh kota ini.
Ini buatan apa gimana sih kan?
Iya, buatan. Kan tinggal diisi air laut aja ini kanal. Kan habis itu dikunci kan locknya. Nah, ini gue pernah nih lewat sini nih. Sama kita kan? Sama kamu juga kan? Naik sepeda itu.
Sini ya?
Iya, yang lewat jamnya itu loh.
Oh iya.
Look at the group of very crooked houses. We affectionately refer to them as the dancing houses because they look like they're tilting and swaying to some happy tune. These buildings get their crazy tilts from the wooden piles that are supposed to be holding them up. The more the piles rock, the wilder the houses dance. Outwardly, like you see on so many buildings, is a person. It has nothing to do with modern piles. The facades, or the faces of buildings, were intentionally built this way. In fact, a 16th century law put limits on how far a building could lean forward, lest it topple down.
Ada floating house, Ger. Rumah terapung.
Iya.
Wih, very nice. Backlight.
So, now we see the view on the right. On the left also a nice view. We see an old canal. Halfway the canal would draw with on the Southern Church dates from the year 1614. And this view was painted by a French painter. His name was Monet. This view here on the left. The Southern Church was the first Protestant church here in Amsterdam.
See the floating house again. Sauna. Floating.
Sewa yang kayaknya.
Hah?
Sewa.
Enggak, ditempatin sendiri. Hotel apa ya?
Kayaknya.
Floating ya.
Iya.
Iya. Ya, tongkang kan. Kantor juga kok. Tongkang tapi dibuat rumah. Bisa nih konsep di Indonesia.
Apa yang pergi di Priuk sana?
Lah, Bos Jerry lah dulu kan pernah katanya mau floating house itu. Backlight ya?
Mana itu? Lihat lagi kita.
Bukan, backlight. Matahari dari sana.
Oh.
Sekarang jam 1 siang. 1 siang Matahari panas.
We're now on the Amstel River. The round white-faced building
Amstel
next to
diri
the
kan?
City Hall is the Music Theater, or Music Theater. It's home to the Dutch Opera, known for its daring production,
Ini kalau naik ini
the
nggak bisa
Holland
berhenti ya?
Symphonia,
Hah?
and the
Bisa
world-renowned
Nggak
Dutch
tahu ini
National
berhenti.
Ballet. The Dutch may be known for their tolerant
Oh, yang ini lebih mahal ini kayaknya. Sightseeing, Hoponopov.
This piece of architecture was met with heavy protests that have since simmered down. In fact, that's how it got its name, Stopera. It's derived from the movement against the construction, Stop the Opera.
Bebek. Mengikuti, melawan arus itu bebeknya. Kamu, Ger.
Ikan mati ikut arus.
Gua ngikut arus tapi kadang melawan. Depend on.
Itu ikan hidup lah. Dia bisa ikut, bisa lawan.
Nah.
Kalau ikan mati kan dia ikut terus.
Fleksibel lah. Masuk jembatan lagi. Enak ya, adem ya.
Iya.
Cor-corannya ini adem. Nggak lapuk ya.
The Magerenbrug,
Harusnya milih pot ya, Ger ya. Pot to pot enak nih, Ger.
stretches all the way across the Amstel River.
Bau tuh bau ya.
Of
Iya.
Amsterdam's 1,500 or so bridges, this is the most famous.
Nah, ini nih.
It dates back
Kanal
to
yang
the
paling
17th
terkenal nih,
century
ring
and
kanal.
was likely a narrow footbridge. Since
Ring
then,
kanal.
it's been reconstructed more than once and grown wider with age. Legend has it that whoever you kiss while passing under the bridge will be your true love for life.
Inside ring kanal.
Mitosnya katanya.
Iya.
Ya,
Udah nikah, Ger. Tadi harus
Cil.
sama Haji. Waduh. Bahaya. Kalau gua belum nikah udah habis tuh si itu.
We're now on Herrenbrock,
Ntar juga hampir habis, sayang aja nggak ada
It was
limitnya
part of a
20.
careful
Kalau
plan
ada
to
mau
expand the city. In the early 17th century, a time of tremendous physical and economic growth, 3 new canals were laid out in concentric rings. The Herrenbrock was innermost. The Kaisersgracht, or Emperor's Canal, was in the middle, followed by the Prinsengracht, or the Prince's Canal.
The wealthiest citizens, shipbuilders, merchants, investors, and politicians built elegant mansions on the Herrengracht. The Kaisersgracht was solidly middle class, while the Prinsengracht had a more industrial atmosphere. Of the 3 canals, the Prinsengracht was the only one that connected directly to the harbor, and its low sides were designed for loading and unloading cargo.
And so, the farther you lived from the city center, the lower your social class. Today, this would no longer hold true. All of the city center is expensive.
Here after the bridge on the right, you can see house is a beautiful decoration. These statue is fighting a dragon and is placed on top of an elephant statue on the right. On the left, the most expensive hotel of Amsterdam.
Iya, bagus ya.
Very luxury hotel, 5-star hotel.
Mana tuh patung gitu? Cuman patung gitu aja.
Jalannya aja ya.
Oh iya. Porsche. Parkir di pinggir kanal. Jatuh. Nangis.
Karena
your
emang
camera
tenang
ready?
kali ya.
We're about to pass by one of the most photographed views in Amsterdam. The 7 arched bridges over Reckeliersgracht or Reckeliersgracht Canal. This beautiful and unique view of all 7 bridges at once can only be seen from here on waters of the Herengracht. Our kind captain will be slowing down to give
Di sini nih yang the best
to
sih.
catch a photo of this
The bestnya. The best photo. See on the left namanya. Coba Ger, ke sana Ger.
Apa itu?
Sebelah kiri katanya. Yang bagus,
And
foto
last,
bagus.
boat blocks the view a little bit. Otherwise, you can always Google on the internet the 7 boat bridges in Amsterdam. Take a picture from your computer.
Jembatan.
While nobles ruled elsewhere in Europe, here in Amsterdam, it was the self-made merchants. During the 17th century, they were earning as much as 700,000 euros a month. That's more than the average British earns today. The wealthiest of the wealthy on the Herengracht.
Today, almost all of these mansions are used for business, as people no longer afford to live in them. An exception is the city's mayor, whose official residence is at number 502 Herengracht. Look at the great facade with white columns just before the bridge.
The golden age of the 17th century was a stellar time for Amsterdam. From politics and the economy to arts and science, everything flourished. And the city was now the most important trade center in Europe. There are many reasons for Amsterdam's astounding success. It had the largest and most progressive shipbuilding industry in Europe. Dutch traders sailed farther than anyone else to newly discovered lands in the Far East and to North and South America. They organized into companies like the Dutch East Indian Company and the Dutch West Indian Company. And the profits from trading staples like grain and exotics, such as spices, porcelain, precious stones, and
Now let's look back in time to the 17th century. Imagine a colorful scene. Gentlemen in fine clothing on the street, speaking different languages. Elegantly outfitted ladies, stepping down into horse-pulled carriages. The clatter of wheels on cobblestone. And dare we mention it, an unpleasant waft of sewage coming from the canal.
Building restrictions limited houses to a width of no more than 6 meters, or 18 feet. But those who could afford got around this by buying 2 adjacent lots and building a double house. Some of these double homes even had 2 different facades. There was no restriction on depth, and with 20 to 40 rooms, a large private garden, and a coach house behind that, mansions often stretched all the way over to the next street.
We're now at the so-called Golden Bend of the Herengracht, the most lavish section of all. Imagine going into one of these sumptuous homes. On the first floor, an elegant entrance hall with marble floors, high ceilings, and chandeliers. Mirrors were strategically positioned to create an illusion of even more space. And single-lot houses would often have a fake door on the side of the entryway to make them appear bigger than they were.
Rooms were richly decorated with painted wallpaper, oil paintings, fine sculptures, and exotics such as Turkish rugs and Persian silks. In the second half of the 17th century, Parisian furniture, Louis XVI style, was very much in vogue.
As a gentleman, you might join your host in a deep-colored smoking room. A lady, your hostess would receive you in a light blue salon or tea room. Here, you'd sip imported tea from China while looking out over a beautifully manicured garden. No one ever sat in the garden. It'd ruin their fashionable white skin. Musical concerts and grand parties were common, and each house had many rooms dedicated to entertaining. For a first-hand glimpse of life inside an opulent canal house, there are two wonderful museums in the area, the Hilvingenlopenhaus and the Villa Posthausen.
In a few moments on the left, we can see one of the many side canals of Amsterdam. This one is a connection canal between the main canals, named the Leidse Canal. In Dutch we say Leidse Gracht. Gracht means canal. So if you want to speak Dutch, you can always try to say Gracht. A little bit louder, please. Come on. Gracht.
Gracht.
That's better. Next lesson. Yesterday night I've seen 88 beautiful canals. It sounds in Dutch like this. Gisternacht heb ik 88 prachtige grachten gezien. Grachten. Also on the left, look, two identical houses. Therefore they named the twin sisters. And here on the left, the Leidse Gracht. Good, so very good. And coming up on the right in a few moments, you can see another Gracht. It's the smallest Gracht of Amsterdam. And the houses are built directly in the water, like in Venice in Italy. The smallest canal of Amsterdam, here on the right.
As we pass by these richly decorated canal houses, there's so much to notice. So many flourishes and details, ornate door cases, sculptures, and of course the decorative gables at the roofline.
There are several different types of gables, and over the decades, they've gone in and out of fashion. See if you can spot them all. The oldest type is the spout gable. This basic triangular shape is seen only on warehouses. The 17th century step gable looks just as you'd expect, a series of steps. The neck gable, with its straight up and down sides and scrollwork decorations, came a bit later, followed by the bell gable, which has a more rounded, bell-like shape. By the 18th century, the cornice, a flat-top gable, was most popular.
There's one thing that all gables have in common, the hoisting beam. Staircases were so narrow and steep that furniture and goods were lifted to the upper floors via the hoisting beam, along with a good strong rope, a hook, and a pulley. Goods were generally tradition of moving things this way, as even newly constructed houses have narrow stairways and are still equipped with hoisting beams.
Until the 18th century, housekeeping didn't exist in Amsterdam. Instead, people relied on gable stones. These carved and sometimes colorfully painted stones were set into a house's facade, often above the door. Pictures made reference to the occupancy profession, or their family crest. For example, a butcher might have a picture of a lamb, a dentist might have a tooth, a miller a windmill. Illiteracy was high, but such symbols were easy to understand.
As we ride along the canal, keep an eye out for gable stones. There are more than 650 throughout the city. As you find them, you can challenge yourself by guessing what they might mean.
You may have noticed that most of the city's houses are made of brick. That's because bricks could be made locally. They were very porous compared to bricks of today, and had to be oiled, tarred, or painted to protect them against the weather. You would only see stone on the facade of a wealthy city, because it had to be imported, costing much more than brick.
For the shoppers among us, to the west or west of here is a unique shopping district called erected, or 9 little streets. Each street is a block long and full of quirky boutiques and specialty shops. It's a relaxing and fun place to explore.
Here.